Hey everyone, shalom, shalom. Give it a couple of minutes here, and then we will get started in our study. I'm just going to give it a few more minutes here and let everybody join into the live stream. We'll probably get started here in, 5 minutes maybe. I hope you all are having a wonderful week so far. And my TikTok folks, I apologize for the late start. I was out and about and thought I could get back in time, and I could not. My YouTube folks, well, it doesn't really affect you guys, so awesome for that. Hey, shalom, Colton, good to see you, brother. I hope you're having a good week so far. If you guys want to get your Bibles ready, we'll be picking it back up from Exodus chapter 25. And then we have the last two chapters of the Wisdom of Solomon tonight. And Yah willing, next week we will start the book of Sirach. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, it is chilly out for sure. It's very cold. It's been unseasonably cold here. In fact, I heard in my area we're supposed to be getting around a foot of snow, which I don't know if it's ever snowed that much in this area of the state. So that's pretty wild. But it's been terribly, terribly cold, especially at night. I mean, it was like 12 degrees last night at my house. It might be one of the coldest it's been. I don't think it's dropped below zero since I've lived here. And we've lived here for like 8 years now. And we're getting close. We're getting close to breaking that threshold. I hope we don't. Man, I'm gonna have to pick up and go further south. Man, so much for avoiding the winter in the south. Yeah, right. Hey, Holly, shalom, sister. Hope you're doing well. And then here in like 2 minutes, we're going to get started. We have a pretty long Torah portion, but I think we'll be able to get through it not too long. And then we only got 2 chapters of the Wisdom of Solomon tonight. So it'll actually probably be a short study tonight. Y'all okay? Yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good. Everyone in the house is healthy and happy. Well, kids aren't always happy, take their cookies away and they lose their little minds. But for the most part, we are doing all good. Sorry for the late start. I was telling everybody a little bit earlier. We had to go grocery shopping, and I really thought we could get back in time before the study started, and that just did not happen. So, apologize for my YouTube or my TikTok folks. This won't affect my YouTube people at all. So, good for that. All right, we're going to get started in uno momento, unless there's any questions, concerns, anything you guys have. I'm pretty sure everybody in the live stream already knows about the Passover camping trip details emailed out. If you're not signed up on the email link, do that. But I'm pretty sure all of you already know. So I don't really have that much housekeeping stuff tonight. Other than, we're going to start Sirach next week, Yah willing. Looking forward to that. That's going to be a really, really good book. It's been a while since I've gone through that one, so I'm excited to jump back into it. I know it's a really, really good book, though. And obviously, if you guys have never read it, you'll see what I'm talking about when we get into it. And that one will probably take a few months to get through, I would think. So we'll see. let's say it's like 50 something chapters. I can't remember. Let's see. There's 46. There's 50. Oh, I passed it. So 51. So there's 51 chapters in it. So looking forward to that. It's a good book. Definitely worth reading and considering. So, all right. Well, we'll worry about that next week, though. Let's get into it. We're going to pick it up, our Torah portion from Exodus chapter 25, if y'all want to follow along. So let's jump into it. All right. And the Most High spoke to Moses, saying, say to the sons of Israel, also take up first fruits from all to whom it seems right in their heart, and you shall receive my first fruits. Now this is the first fruits that you shall receive from them, gold and silver and brass and blue and purple and double scarlet and fine twisted linen and goat's hair and ram skins, dyed red and blue skins, and wood that does not deteriorate, and sardius stones and stones for the carving, for the shoulder and the full-length robe, and you shall make a sanctuary for me. And I will appear among you, and you shall make it for me according to everything I show you on the mountain. The pattern of the tent and the pattern of all its vessels, so you will make them. And you shall make an ark of testimony from wood that does not deteriorate, 2.5 cubits in length, and 1.5 cubits in width, and a cubit is about 1.5 feet. And 1.5 cubits in width, and 1.5 cubits in height. And you shall gild it with purple, or with pure gold. Purple gold, that would be interesting to see. Pure gold. You shall gird it outside and inside with gold, and for it you shall make a raised molding of plated gold around it. And you shall cast 4 gold rings for it, and you shall place them on the 4 sides, 2 rings on the one side and 2 rings on the second side. And you shall make carrying poles of wood that does not deteriorate, and you shall overlay them with gold, and you shall insert the poles into the rings that are on the side of the ark to carry the ark by them. The carrying poles shall be in the rings of the ark permanently, and you shall place the testimony that I am giving you into the ark. And you shall make the mercy seat a cover of pure gold, and 2.5 cubits in length, and 1.5 cubits in width. And there's a side note. I think the reason it's called the mercy seat is because that's where he gives us mercy, right? Like a mercy that we all need for sure. But this is just a little side note. Verse 17. And you shall make 2 gold embossed cherubim, and you shall place them at the 2 sides of the mercy seat. They will be made 1 cherub out of this side, and 1 cherub out of the second side of the mercy seat. And you shall make the 2 cherubim upon the 2 sides. The cherubim will be spreading out the wings upward, overshadowing the mercy seat with their wings. And their faces towards one another, the faces of the cherubim will be towards the mercy seat. And you shall place the mercy seat upon the top of the ark, and you shall place the testimony that I am giving you into the ark. And from there I will make myself known to you, and I will speak with you from above the mercy seat between the 2 cherubim that are over the ark of the testimony, and according to everything I command you for the sons of Israel. And you shall make a golden table of pure gold. I bet that was pretty heavy. 2 cubits in length, and 1 cubit in width, and 1.5 cubits in height. And for it you shall make a gold-plated molding around it. And you shall make a crown, the breadth of a palm encircling it. And you shall prepare a plated molding around for its rim. And you shall make 4 gold rings, and you shall place the 4 rings on the 4 corners and its feet under the rim. And the rings will serve as a housing for the carrying poles, so the table can be carried by them. And you shall make the carrying poles out of wood that does not deteriorate, and you shall overlay them with pure gold, and the table will be carried by them. And you shall make its dishes and its censers and its libation bowls and cups which you will offer drink offerings in them. You shall make them pure gold, and you shall place the bread of the presence on the table in front of me perpetually. And you shall make a lampstand out of pure gold. You shall make the lampstand of hammered work. Just a quick side note, I think this would have been like just a beautiful room, and the ark would have been gorgeous. I think I would love to see it. And you know what? We might get to. And I mean, before everything goes down, I don't know if you guys follow a Torah family. I don't agree with him on everything, but I do agree with him on a lot of stuff, and a lot of things that he brings up I consider. One of his things that he thinks is definitely going to happen is that they bring the Ark of the Covenant back in the end times, and that's very possible. I can see some good reasoning for that idea, and quite frankly, I don't think the Ark of the Covenant ever disappeared or was destroyed. I think it's been kept somewhere this whole time. In fact, it might even be in the hands of somebody that would surprise and shock us all, but I don't think it was just destroyed or lost to history. Like, I think it is somewhere. It is somewhere, and somebody has it, and they're using it. Remember, just the sheer presence of the ark gave blessing to whoever was around it. And I don't know exactly how all that stuff works. I mean, we could spend hours going back and forth about this kind of stuff, because I still, quite frankly, don't totally understand all of that. Like, just, hey, this item itself is just a massive blessing to anybody. It doesn't matter if they're good or bad or whatever. It's a massive blessing. When we've seen that in other things in the Bible, even in the Apocrypha, right? It talks about the garments that, were made for Adam and Eve, and how those basically just blessed anyone that touched them, and how Nimrod got a hold of those garments, and that's how he became big and powerful in the world. And then just Elijah's bones, just the bones just touching people could bring somebody back to life. So there's some kind of magic doesn't seem like the right word, and because of the Bible, I don't really like that word anymore, but there's some kind of something going on here where it's like a direct connect to the Most High through some of these items. And obviously the ark is like that as well. If you guys remember the story where Uzzah, put his hand back to keep the ark from falling off the cart, but he wasn't allowed to touch it, and it killed him. And then David got all upset and then just sent it off to some other dude's house, and they just stored it there, and then it just blessed that guy massively. And David was like, okay, I'll take it back now, So some of these like items that are in like direct connect to the Most High have this power. And even Yeshua's garment, right? Just Yeshua's garment. That woman touched the tzitzits and she was healed. She didn't even ask permission. She just walked up behind him, grabbed him, and she was healed. And Yeshua was like, what is that? What's going on? Who did that, right? So, like, we see these kinds of things in the Bible that regardless of whether you deserve it or who it is, they can reap the blessing from these things. And in the Bible, sometimes it cautions us to not let certain people touch these things or go near these things. And this is probably why. Imagine if we just had a bunch of pagans go into the temple and, put the ark in their house, which might very well be the case now. I mean, the ark's probably sitting in someone's living room who's a massive pagan or non-believer, but I'm sure that the ark is in the hands of somebody right now, and it is plausible that it could come back onto the scene at some point in the near future as we cascade towards the end times. But anyways, just a little thought I had. Those kinds of things just still to this day kind of confuse me. And even talking about, the garment with Jacob and Esau, right? Like that garment. And I don't know if that was a garment that was made for Adam and Eve. It could have been. I'm not sure. It doesn't specify in the Bible or in the Apocrypha that I'm aware of. But that garment, or that blessing, not the garment, I'm sorry, the blessing, my bad. The blessing from Jacob and Esau's father, right? He gave it, like he had a blessing that he could transfer to somebody. All right, and again, I'm not going to get into the whole, Jacob the deceiver thing. You guys know how I feel about that. I don't believe he deceived anyone. The only thing he's guilty of is obeying his mother. And obviously, Yah wanted him to have that blessing in the first place because he hated Esau before Esau was even born. So there's definitely some stuff at play that even I don't understand exactly how that works. I wish I did, but some of it is just like, I don't know. We got speculation, and that's all we can really have about these items and their power, for lack of a better term. But either way, we know the Ark does have massive power that can be given to people that are in the sheer presence of it. So one day we might find out who actually has the Ark, and again, I bet it would shock us, or maybe not. Maybe it wouldn't shock us that much. Anyways. Let's see here. And you know what, John? I don't want to hear it. Okay, I put up a thing. I let you guys know I was going to start late. Always got to be giving me gruff. That's okay. Good to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. All right. So, anyways, where were we? My bookmark slipped. Pure gold. Shall place the bread of the present. Okay, verse 30. Verse 30. And you shall make a lampstand out of pure gold. You shall make the lampstand of hammered work, its stems and its branches and its cups and its calyxes and its ornamental petals will be of one piece with it. The 6 branches will come out of the sides. 3 branches of the lampstand out of one side, 3 branches of the lampstand out of the second side, and 3 caps fashioned like almonds on one branch, knob and flower. Thus for the 6 branches that proceed out of the lampstand. And again, need I remind you guys that all this stuff that just seems like random is not. There's all symbolism in everything he's commanding them to do, from the dimensions of the ark to what it's made out of, what it looks like, what its purpose is. All of this plays into New Testament stuff and heavenly things, and just that, like, he does absolutely nothing random. He wasn't just like, I think that looks pretty, like it means something. And I think we talked about how the way he designed the innermost rooms, like the temple, it matches the heart, right? The chambers of the heart. So very interesting, all symbolic stuff. And it's all meant to show us that he is, in fact, our creator, and he left nothing up to chance. So, anyways, let's keep going. Verse 33. And on the lampstand 4 cups fashioned like almonds, and on one branch knobs and its ornamental petals, and a knob under the 2 branches of one piece with it, and a knob under its 4 branches of one piece with it. Thus for the 6 branches that proceed out of the lampstand. And in the lampstand 4 bowls fashioned like almonds. Let the knobs and the branches be of one piece with it, the entire relief from one piece of pure gold. And you shall make it 7 lamps, and you shall arrange the lamps, and they will cast light forward together. Right? Casting light, right? Symbolism, symbolic there of the light lighting our path, right? And who is the light? It's the Messiah and the Most High's laws. And you will make its oil vessels and its trays out of pure gold. All these vessels are a talent of pure gold. See that you make everything according to the pattern shown to you on the mountain. Okay, so again, these are the commands of the Most High. And when we look at this stuff, it's tempting to just kind of brush by it because that these don't apply to us. Now, Christians say that none of it applies to us, right? So we can't go too far, but these things we can't do. All right, we don't have a temple. We don't have a priesthood. We do not have people that can do this. Now, the state of Israel, the modern political state, not people of Israel, the state of Israel, they're trying to do this. But even if you look at what they're doing, if you go and read what they're doing on the Temple Institute website, it's not even this. It's like their own version of this. So they're not even doing what is commanded in the actual Torah. They're still doing their own thing. So even whatever they're turning out and producing is not what we're commanded to do in the Torah. But again, obviously at this current moment in time, we can't do this. You know what I mean? But there is still significant, like spiritual significance and things that clearly point to Messiah Yeshua as the biblical Messiah laid out from verse 1 in the Bible, all of this stuff means something. And all of these things are going to come full circle. I'm quite positive there's going to be a temple that looks exactly like this with all this stuff again. Now, I don't think it's going to be built and furnished in the political state of Israel we have right now. That temple is going to be when Yeshua comes back and regathers his people and hits the reset button on this earth. And then the sacrifices will be accepted again. But anyways, we'll talk about that more later. We'll pick it up, Yah willing, next week from chapter 26. And let's read the last couple of chapters of the Wisdom of Solomon. Like I said, it's probably going to be a pretty short study tonight, so that's okay. But this whole book, I hope you guys have found enlightenment in it. There's stuff clearly pointing to our Messiah in it, stuff clearly pointing to how we are to walk out every day, what we're supposed to do as believers in the Elohim of the Bible and Messiah Yeshua. So these books really just enrich our understanding and give us I already said it, a greater understanding, moving forward, deepening our walk and our relationship and our knowledge. So let's just read these last couple of chapters, see what we can glean from them, and then we'll get into a new book next week. All right, let me switch it over, and boom, Wisdom of Solomon. All right, you guys, we're picking it up from chapter 18 if you want to follow along. But there was the great light of your holy ones, whose voices they heard, but whose forms they did not see them. They counted them blessed because they also had suffered. And see, that's a reoccurring theme. I know we talk about it a lot, but it's important to understand that in this world, in this life, like suffering it just comes with the territory, right? We don't have a reward yet. We're not living in a world guided by the laws of the Most High. In this world doesn't even accept Messiah Yeshua. They accept like a false version of our Messiah. Because everybody thinks that, Yeshua, Jesus is this, free love, hippie, like, hey, you're incapable of doing it, so I'm going to do it all for you kind of guy. And that is not at all what is recorded for us in the Bible, let alone the Apocrypha. So they accept this like once saved, always saved. Jesus will forgive you no matter what version of him. And that's not what the Bible says is our Messiah, right? He's not. He's the one that said, go and sin no more that nothing worse may happen to you. He's the one that said, be perfect before our heavenly Father. He's the one that said, if you're lawless, it doesn't matter if you profess me, I'm going to turn you away. He's the one that told us the path is extremely narrow and few there be that find it. Right? And he's the one that's going to lock up sinners and lawbreakers or cast them in the fiery furnace. So again, this whole idea, this worldly version of the Messiah isn't even the one that is in the Bible. So people don't know him and people don't actually accept him. I mean, point in case, read the Old Testament. Or not the Old Testament, I'm sorry. Well, read the Old Testament. But point in case, read the Gospels. Right? The gospel, who liked him? What did he do? He came here. He lived a life of righteousness, trying to guide his people back to the truth of the Father. And what did they do? They made fun of him. They spit on him. They beat him. They killed him on a cross. So, par for the course if we're walking that same path. Same thing happened to the disciples. The same thing happened to the prophets. Right? Anyone in this world, the one we live in right now, anyone in this world that truly stands up for biblical truth, stands on biblical principles and obedience to the Most High, and reaffirms what the Bible says that there's consequences for ignoring God's way, is going to get hated by this world because the world doesn't like that. The world wants this free love hippie version of Jesus, this super nice, God that never gets angry no matter what you do and will always forgive you no matter what you do. And, I know I gave you all these commandments and stern punishments, but, no matter what, everything's all good in the hood. Like, come on in like a dirty pair of socks. Like, then that's just not biblical. It's really not. That like, is he going to forgive us? Absolutely. I'll never make it in unless he forgives me because I deserve death. Like, putting my life up against the Torah, goodness gracious. I don't even deserve to wipe the tiles of the floor with a toothbrush. I don't. All right, so if I enter into the kingdom of heaven, that's massive grace, massive mercy, massive forgiveness. But I am trying to do what he said to do. I'm trying to keep his commandments that are in my power to keep. I'm trying to repent when I do something wrong. I'm trying to turn away from wickedness. I'm trying to be a better version of myself that is in line with the path of Messiah Yeshua. And sometimes I feel like I fail every day, right? But I'm still trying, right? So, and I don't know if I'll be in the kingdom. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I know for sure, because I don't. Like, and all these people act like you're already there. Right? Every Christian I've ever talked to, I'm already in the kingdom. I've had people say that to me, and I'm like, really? Did I miss Judgment Day? Did I miss where he quits you? Right? Where he said, hey, well done, good and faithful servant. Here's a crown. Come on into my kingdom. Did I miss that part? Because until he says that to me, I'm not going to pretend like I'm already there, like I've already been acquitted, like my walk is already at the finish line and I've done the best I can do. Like, it's daily. He said, pick up your cross and follow me daily. Cast your burdens on me daily. I mean, this isn't like don't worry about it. I'll pay for all of it. I'll cover everything no matter what. Like, that's not in the Bible. There's not a verse that says that anywhere. So, I'm just saying, you got to understand that suffering is part of the walk when you're really digging in to that narrow path. Look at the prophets, look at the disciples, look at Yeshua. They're our example. And I'm not saying that people can't get blessed in this world or have joy or happiness, right? But at the end of the day, like, really, the people that are the very closest that you can get on this earth to the Most High, they're not well liked by people. All right, and they don't have a whole lot of things that most people would say, oh, hey, that's a blessed person, right? So our walk looks different. When you're really, really trying to dig into the path of Messiah Yeshua, when you're really trying to walk this biblical path, suffering's part of it. So just keep that in mind, right? Because your reward isn't in this life, it's in the one to come. Right? This life is a test, and no tests are fun. Nobody likes tests. Right? So the people that act like the test is already over and they've passed, it seems to me they just probably gave up and are walking in ignorance. But I'm no one's judge. I'm just saying I wouldn't get too content. Anyways, though, let's keep going. Verse 2. They give thanks because although previously wrong, they did not hurt them. And they asked for pardon for having disagreed with them, because you provided a flaming pillar as a guide for the unknown journey, and a sun without harm for the glorious wandering. And for those people deserve to be deprived of light and imprisoned in darkness, those who kept your sons locked up, through whom the incorruptible light of the law was to be given to eternity, right? Let's pause there for just a quick second. Read that last verse again. Through whom the incorruptible light of the law was to be given to eternity. All right? And this isn't a concept in just apocryphal books. This is a concept you can find in your regular Bible. When God says these laws are for you and for your children after you forever, I'm pretty sure he knows what forever means. All right, so that would be eternity, eternal, right? And then you have Christians turning around saying, we don't have to keep these. Well, that doesn't make sense. You can't be commanded to keep a law eternally and then be like, oh, well, it doesn't apply to us. We don't have to keep it. That just means you're not in the covenant that you're claiming to be in. Oh, we're in a new covenant. Well, where did his laws ever change? In the old or new covenant? In any covenant in the Bible, ever. When did his laws change? Show me. You can't, because it's not in the Bible. So, incorruptible light of the law was to be given to eternity, right? His law is light. It's a light to our path. It literally says that in Proverbs, right? And Yeshua, our Messiah, is the light. And he's the law, the Torah made flesh. The commander-in-chief for eternity. The eternal light, right? So you can't separate them. You can't. Our Messiah is the embodiment of God's laws, the Torah, how we are supposed to live, how we are supposed to please the Most High. You can't just throw that out the window and say, oh, Jesus did it, so I don't even got to try. And that's what we have modern day Christianity doing, and it's not biblical and it's not right, and not going to put you on that narrow path that leads to salvation. All right, verse 5. When they planned to kill the children of the holy people, and one child had been abandoned and rescued, for a rebuke you removed a multitude of children from them and destroyed them together in mighty water. Again, if you're not following, we're talking about the Exodus here, right? He's talking about Moses right now. So Moses is that child, right? They knew from the stars, because back then they knew how to read the stars, and we were never taught so that we wouldn't be in the know. But they knew how to read the stars. They knew that somebody very important was coming. It was prophesied by God, right? And you can see that even in apocryphal books, right? Moses is important. And he was prophesied to come, and they wanted to kill all the kids. And that's what they did. Moses was spared. And then the Most High, let's just say eye for an eye on that one. And destroyed them together in mighty water. That night was made known beforehand to our ancestors, so that they might rejoice, because they assuredly knew the oaths in which they trusted. Right? Listen to that again. That night was made known beforehand to our ancestors, because he tells us, he prophesies. Like, these books weren't the only books. Like, the Bible didn't start with Moses. It started well before that. And we've read some things through our studies together, if you've been along with me, that, as far as I'm concerned, utterly and undeniably prove that. And I find it to be extremely interesting and help deepen our walk. So, anyways, verse 7, the salvation of the righteous and the destruction of enemies were expected by your people. For as you punished the opposing people, by the same means you also called and glorified us. For the holy children of good people sacrificed secretly, and they established the divine law in unanimity. Oh my goodness. I can't speak. Can't say the word. You guys know. Unanimously. That's not the word that's being used, but it's the same one. So unanimously, right, they established the divine law. We'll just go with that. That one's easier for my tongue to say, I guess. So the saints would share alike with them. And remember, what is the New Testament? What does it tell us who the saints are? Revelation 14:12. Those who have the faith of Messiah Yeshua and keep the commandments. So the saints would share alike with them, both good things and dangerous, already singing before praises of the Father, but the discordant cry of enemies sounded, and the lamentable cry for pitiable children carried across, but the slave was being punished with the same penalty along with the master, and the commoner was suffering the same things along with the king, and they all together in one kind of death, had countless dead. For there were not even enough living to bury them, since he utterly destroyed the most honored of their offspring in one decisive moment. And this is honestly, I think, a picture and a shadow, again, of what is to come. What has been done is what will be done again. We've been talking about the second Exodus a lot lately, and the importance of being ready to go on Passover should the calling come, which I truly believe it's going to be on a Passover. But just what I'm saying here is, I think these same type of events are going to lead up to the second Exodus. I think there's going to be I mean, it says in Isaiah, he makes the world empty. Like, it says in other parts of the Bible that, his sword is going to be filled with blood, right? This means that something big and crazy is going to happen on this world. And, I don't know what the excuse is going to be from the world. Oh, it's global warming. That's why all these earthquakes and hurricanes and, tornadoes are going off. Or if it's going to be, no, it's World War III. Or, oh, no, the asteroid from space is coming to destroy. I don't know. They will have an excuse, guaranteed. But a lot of people are gonna be killed, right, in the end times. It literally says that in Revelation. Like a third of the world, if I'm not mistaken, at least, is killed in one seal. That's a big event. That's not going to go unnoticed, right? And it's judgment. It's judgment coming on a wicked world who has ignored the laws of their creator and done far worse things than that, quite frankly. But big things are going to happen, and it's going to scare a lot of people. It's probably going to scare us, to be honest with you. I bet they were pretty scared back in the Exodus. Like, seeing that kind of stuff would be pretty darn scary. So I'm guessing it's going to be a very scary time, but we just have to have faith in the Most High, and he delivers his people. He got them through it, right? So we just got to hunker down and have faith in the Most High when it really all starts hitting the fan. And I don't know when that's going to be. I have my suspicions that it will start this year, but I don't know. I do not know for sure. I don't have the inside scoop on that. I just have my biblically based speculation based on things going on in the world. So, anyways, just be aware. Things are going to get pretty rocky in this world when things kick into high gear. And whatever excuse they may have, well, I probably wouldn't trust it. Because this world, just look around. Filled with lies and a world rejecting the Most High. So anyways, utterly destroyed the most honorable of their offspring in one decisive moment. Verse 13. For although they disbelieved everything because of the sorcery at the destruction of the firstborn, they acknowledged that this people was Elohim's son. Interesting how it's put in the Septuagint. I don't believe that same verse says sorcery in the Masoretic. Let me go look. I could be wrong. I don't have the other version of the Wisdom of Solomon. It's not a Masoretic version, but goodness, I can't remember. But either way, interesting how it says sorcery nonetheless. Think about it. Right? They were obviously doing sorcery, like in the Exodus. Right? We know that for a fact. It's recorded in the regular Bible canon, along with other apocryphal books, many apocryphal books, actually. In fact, there's a very interesting one, another book of Solomon, actually, that talks about, a demon being in the court with Moses. Right? He's part of the ones that was doing all that magic stuff that the Pharaoh's guys were doing. He was helping them do that. Anyways, we don't need to get into that. But sorcery, I really find that interesting that it records this for us, especially considering what it says in Revelation, right? It says that the great ones of the world deceive them by their sorceries. We know that word is pharmakia, right? And look at this world dependent on its pharmakia, on its man-made sorceries, right? And it's all these mental issues, and then they just drug these people up. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't ever really see that it makes a positive influence on somebody when they get all drugged up with these mind-altering sorceries, right? And let's not get into all the other technology in this world that could very well be considered sorcery. I mean, heck, this phone that we're on, how's it work? I know that there's some engineer that can put one of these things together with the right parts, but how does it work? Actually, I'm just my picture is being broadcast to the whole world right now. Anyone who wants to tap in, right? You can be with me right now in this moment. It's just, there are so many things that are making me do a double take in this world where I'm like, what is that? What is going on here? You know, and I don't know if it's just me or you guys feel the same way, but there is sorcery going on in this world. Like, anybody that thinks that sorcery is just a thing of cartoons and TV shows, no, absolutely not. They are doing sorcery all the time in this world, and they are deceiving people with it. Like, it literally says, for although they disbelieved everything because of the sorcery. And you know, just again, I'm just speaking what's coming to mind right now, but you know, they cast spells on people, right? And they broadcast music, they broadcast media, they broadcast movies and TV shows. They're casting, right? And Hollywood, where a lot of this stuff comes out of, Hollywood it's a type of wood that they would use for magic wands. Like in the city of angels, Los Angeles, the angels, the fallen angels, right? And I think Los Angeles is on the 33rd parallel, if I'm not mistaken. It might not be, but I think even where Los Angeles was significant somehow to the fallen angels. So I'm just saying, like, these people, I'm not saying you can't like listen to music or watch TV. Maybe not all music and TV you should watch, but I'm just saying, like, they are using this stuff, this casting, right? Broadcasting. They're casting what to the whole world? Tell a vision, lie vision, sorcery. I'm just saying, it seems a little, it might sound crazy to you, but doesn't seem so crazy to me nowadays, especially now I can watch a TV show and I can watch a movie and I can pick out all the ways that they are trying to influence people's minds. Like, it's a lot easier when you're in tune to what they're doing. I feel like I can test anything they're throwing at me, music or movies. Now, I don't know about all that undertone stuff. You know, I've seen a lot of crazy stuff with music tones and white noise and it making you more susceptible to demons and in the spirit realm. I don't know about that, but I can see their agendas playing out in movies and TV shows and the news media, and they're casting it, right? So they're deceiving people with music, they're deceiving people with media, they're deceiving people with movies, they're deceiving people with pharmakia, with drugs. Oh, take these pills, it'll make you feel better. Is it? Is it really? So I can see a lot of ways that this is relevant in our modern day. And that we're not even talking about the actual dark magic spell stuff that these A-list people are doing. And I know they're doing it. I met someone that I worked with him. And at the time, I've told you guys this story before, but I worked with a guy briefly who worked on a movie set for it was like Real Housewives or something in Los Angeles. Like, it was a reality TV show, and he was like one of the producers or executive producer. He was part of the team that films it and whatever. Anyways, he told me about all these crazy parties and these crazy things, like seances that they would do on the sets of these things. And he said he went to one of them, and a demon actually attached himself to this guy. Like, and he said he could physically see it, he could physically hear it, and it kept following him. And it kept asking him to do all these crazy things. And he literally packed up his car with what he could fit in it and just drove. He didn't even like quit his job. He just stopped showing up. He just left. He said he was so freaked out. And again, at the time when I met this guy, I wasn't really walking in the truth. I was a believer of the Bible, but I wasn't a believer of like the spirit realm and demons and all that stuff, which is ironic because the Bible clearly tells us about it. But it sounded all far-fetched to me at the time. I was like, well, okay, dude, whatever. Like, I know those people do some crazy stuff, but that's just like over the top. And now I wish I could go back and talk to that guy, do an interview with him on this very live stream. I would do it if I could. But I believe all that stuff now. It's It's wild. And the stories I've heard from you guys, I mean, goodness gracious. Like, we don't know the half of what's really going on in this world. We really, really don't. But, anyways, for although they disbelieved everything because of the sorcery, which is deceiving them with lies, at the destruction of the firstborn, they acknowledged that this people was God's son, right? Which they're going to do again. They're going to do that. That's exactly what it says is going to happen in Revelation. For a while, gentle silence surrounded all things, and night, in its swift course, was in the middle of all things. Your all-powerful word leaped from the heavens of the royal throne, a relentless warrior into the middle of the doomed land, bringing your sincere command as a sharp sword. And it's going to happen again, right? The doomed land. What? Like, everybody's walking around like, oh, let's make America great again. You guys know how I feel about that. You might as well have a Make Babylon Great Again hat. But people, so many Christians, believers, right, are focused on this country and this nation. And I got to tell you, I don't think this nation's going to be in the one to come. We're Mystery Egypt. Oh, I just got a pop-up. They have censored my live stream now. I am under restriction on TikTok. You can't share my live stream with anybody, and I don't think anybody else can drop in unless they follow me directly. So I guess I said something that irritated the powers of the principalities of the air. Shocker, right? This should just sound like crazy conspiracy stuff, and yet there you go. You mention a few buzzwords about how Satan runs the world, and boom! Now nobody can hear it. And you're telling me he doesn't run this world. Okay. Anyways, let's keep going. This land is doomed, though, what I was getting at. Verse 16, bringing your sincere command as a sharp sword, and it stood and filled all things with death, and it touched the heavens, but stood on the earth. Then immediately visions in dreams threw them into confusion terribly, and unexpected fears came upon them. And remember, go read Deuteronomy 28. The curses for disobedience, one of them is confusion. So they say, oh, God's not a God of confusion. Yeah, if you're obeying him, he's not a God of confusion. Now, you tell me why you're also so confused that you need 30,000 different denominations of Christianity. Because you're not obeying him. You're all being confused. All right, so go read Deuteronomy 28. Confusion is a curse of disobedience to the Most High, which he is sending on these people. And clearly, confusion is running rampant in the world because of, well, lawlessness. And unexpected fears came upon them, and one here, another there, thrown down half dead, made known the cause of his death. For the dreams that disturbed them forewarned them of this, lest they be killed without knowing why they suffered badly. But the experience of death touched also the righteous, and slaughter came on the multitude in the desert, but the wrath did not remain long. For a blameless man hurried and fought as their champion, bringing the weapon of his own ministry, prayer and incense for atonement. Right? And he was a foreshadow, a picture of Messiah Yeshua, what Messiah Yeshua is going to do for us, right? Make intercession for us when we mess up bad, right? So, but we need to learn from their mistakes, right? We don't have an ignorance card we can play, as far as I can tell. I wish we did. I would love to have an ignorance card, and again, I'm not going to get into all of the nuances of that, because yes, there are some sins that we can be unaware of, unintentionally doing, and those are covered, right? But as a whole, I can't just be like, oh, well, I can go ahead and ignore your Sabbath because, Jesus is going to atone for me. I can go ahead and ignore your dietary laws. I can go ahead and ignore this and that and the other thing that are fully in my power to obey. We don't have an ignorance card for that stuff. All right. He resisted the anger and put an end to the calamity, showing that he was your servant. He was victorious over the crowd, not by strength of body or by the working of weapons, but he subdued the punisher by word, reminding him of the oaths and covenants of the ancestors. For when the dead had already fallen on one another in heaps, standing between them, he drove back the wrath and cut off the way to the living. For the entire world was on his full-length garment, and the glories of the ancestors on a 4-row engraving of stone, and your greatness on the diadem of his head. The destroyer yielded to these, and they were frightened of these things, for just the attempt of anger was sufficient. All right, last chapter, chapter 19. But merciless wrath was set against the ungodly until the end, for he had also known their future. All right, this is why prophecy works and has been proven to work in the Bible. And they, when they had turned to let loose and had sent them forth with haste, they would pursue them because they felt regret for still having grief in hands and lamenting at the graves of the dead. They were drawn in by another foolish decision. And those they had asked and thrown out, they pursued these as fugitives. For the deserved distress was drawing them to this end, and it threw them into forgetfulness of what had happened, so that they might fill up the punishment lacking in their torments. That's terrifying. I don't know if you guys caught that, but let's go back and read it one more time. For the deserved distress was drawing them to this end, and it threw them into forgetfulness of what had happened, so that they might fill up the punishments lacking in the torments. I don't know about you guys, but I have met people that had a great understanding of Scripture. I'm talking about Torah observers at this point. Like, they were teaching people the Torah at one point, and then they made a twist. Some of you guys already know people, names that are coming to mind, but then they just turned away from it. They did like a full 180 and started going back the path that they came up on Torah, and now it's like everything they knew, gone, right? And it's weird because I saw some of them questioning things that I've literally seen them make informed studies on, and I was like shocked by it. And I was like, why is this like I could literally find your video about this subject. Why don't you know how to answer this question when you used to answer this question for people? And not just Torah observers. Like, it's really scary when that happens. But I've seen many Christians, you tell them the truth, you show them, and then it's like in one ear out the other. Like, they totally forgot it. They nothing. Right? And it's just, it makes me wonder if this is happening. Right? And that is utterly terrifying to me, because I really don't want that to ever happen to me or any of you. But he causes them to have forgetfulness, right, so that they might fill up the punishments lacking in their torments. Absolutely, utterly terrifying. That scares the crap out of me, you guys. And it should scare you, too, quite frankly. I really hope. Sorry, excuse me. I really hope that doesn't befall any of us, because I've seen it happen. And it's scary. It's really, really scary. And if this is what's going on, it gives me the chills. And thank you. I appreciate that. All right, verse 5. And your people might experience an unusual journey, but those people might find a strange death. For the whole creation was fashioned again anew in its own kind, serving its commands, so that your children might be kept without harm. The cloud was overshadowing the camp, and the emergence of dry land from where the water was seen before. An unhindered path out of the Red Sea, and a green field out of the violent wave, through which those protected by your hand pass through as a whole nation, having seen amazing wonders. For they ranged like horses and leaped like lambs, praising you, Elohim, who delivers them. For they had still remembered the events of their sojourn, how the earth produced flies instead of the birth of animals, and the river overflowed with the abundance of frogs instead of fish. But later they also saw a new kind of bird. When led by desire, they asked for luxurious meat, for quails came up from the sea, and encouragement to them. Quail's bomb, by the way. If you've ever tried quail, I've only had it a couple of times. It's good, though. I would call that luxurious meat. And the punishments came upon the sinners, not without signs, having come by the force of the thunderbolt, for they were suffering justly by their own wickedness. Sorry, I had another pop up. They're killing me today with these things. Anyways, they were suffering justly by their own wickedness. For they also practiced a more cruel hatred of strangers. For indeed, some people would not receive unknown people when they came by, but these people would enslave strangers who were their benefactors. And not only that, but some examination will be on them, since they would receive the strangers hatefully. But they, after welcoming with celebrations those who had already shared of the same righteous things, mistreated them with terrible suffering. And this is still happening in the people that claim to be Yah's people, albeit Jews or Muslims or Christians. I mean, really, at the end of the day, if heck, even Torah observers are pretty guilty of it, if we're all being honest, right? But there's like a fine line here to be found where you need to not be hateful towards people, but you need to tell them the truth. And if they don't accept the truth, turn them into slaves or, mistreat them. You just can't be around them, right? Light can't be around darkness, right? The two things can't inhabit the same space. So that's why we're called to tell people the truth. And that's why the New Testament talks about the people that are close to you, making sure that they're walking the right path. Because if they're not, it just infects everything around it. Like, I was watching this TV show yesterday, and it was interesting because there was a team dynamic, and one person was lying like a lot. And they let the person on the team, and then because of that, another person started lying, and one guy pointed it out, and he's like, when you let a liar into the fold, it infects everybody, and now everybody becomes liars. And I'm like, goodness gracious, ain't that the truth, right? And then it works with many other things, right? This is why you're supposed to purge the evil from your midst, right? But that doesn't mean being hateful on them or turning them into slaves or or saying, you're lesser than me, you're a dog, and that's what like Jews still treat everybody else that's not a Jew like that, right? So honestly, so do Muslims and a lot of Christians I've met actually. So, right, all guilty of it. But at the end of the day, like they treat them as lesser, and we've read through other apocryphal books, and honestly, even the Bible says it. When these people turn from the truth, right, you really need to pity them, not treat them like they're a dog or something, like they're a lesser human. They're not, you need to be sad. That's a soul that's being lost, right? That's a soul that's not going to be saved if it keeps going down the same path it's going down. And Yah's people have always been called to be the light of the world, right? They were supposed to be the example for everybody around them, that everybody around them would look up to them and say, man, these people are truly Yah's people. These people are humble and kind and helpful. They're like, these are the best people that have ever existed, right? And it's just so often that's not what the people that claim to be Yah's people end up doing. They end up going down a wrong path. Those of you that read through the book of Judges with me on YouTube, I mean, point in case right there. We see like dozens of times in that one book alone where they were doing that, right? They started treating people terrible. He literally says, even in the Torah, that you treat people like worse than the nations around. Like, you've become worse than the people around you. And they were supposed to be the best. They were supposed to be the light of the world, the people carrying the torch of the Most High. And right, that's what the world is going to become one day. But right now, that's not the world we live in. And sadly, the people of Yah keep dropping the ball on that one. So, anyways, those who had already shared the same righteous things mistreated them with terrible sufferings. Verse 17. But they were also stricken with blindness, just as those at the door of the righteous one. And remember, like, people get stricken with spiritual blindness too, not just physical blindness. And we see that happen a lot in the scriptures too, like people that should know better. Right? Honestly, the Pharisees should know better. Not that all the Pharisees were bad. We know they weren't. Anyone who's actually read your Bible. But the Pharisees as a whole, the establishment as a whole, was bad path. And they all had the Torah memorized. At least the Torah memorized. Like, they should have known better. And they didn't. Right? They used their power and authority for evil gain instead of being a light to the world. That's something we can learn from. Right? That's something we have to learn from. But they were also stricken with blindness, just as those at the door of the righteous one, when surrounded by thick darkness. Each one was looking for the way through his own doors. For the elements are exchanged through one another, just as tones on a stringed instrument change the kind of rhythm, while remaining always in sound, which is to be inferred exactly from the accurate appearance of what had happened. For land animals were changing into water animals, and swimming creatures were crossing over the land. Fire was by its own power strong in water, and water forgot its fire-quenching power. Flames, on the contrary, did not shrivel the flesh of perishable animals walking among them, nor melt the easily thawed ice-like kind of heavenly food. For in everything, Yahuwah, you exalted and glorified your people, and you had not neglected them, standing by them at every time and place. So that was the end of the Wisdom of Solomon, a good book, a lot to consider. Thank you guys for spending your time studying it with me. Next week, we will start the actually it is called the Wisdom of Sirach sometimes, but Sirach or Ecclesiasticus. I'm looking forward to going through that book with you guys. And then, Yah willing, we will continue our study through the book of Netzarim on Shabbat. So I hope to see you guys soon. And I have the Psalms and Proverbs studies on YouTube coming out this week before Shabbat. So anyways, I love you guys. Thank you for spending your time with me. If you need anything, have any prayer requests, any questions, feel free to reach out to me, sheepdogministries@hotmail.com. Send me a message, shoot me a text, call me, whatever. I love you guys so much. I hope you have a blessed rest of your night. I can tell from my son being upset that it is bedtime. So I am going to go put my little ones to bed. And I hope you guys have a blessed, wonderful rest of your week. Again, reach out if you need anything. Other than that, Yah willing, I hope to see you guys on Shabbat. In the meantime, may the Most High bless you and keep you. May He make His face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May He lift up His countenance upon you and give you wonderful peace. In the name of Messiah Yeshua. I love you guys. Yah willing, I'll see you soon. Have a good night.